celebrates the tireless efforts of individuals who are not just, speaking up for the environment. They are putting their words into action, talking about transforming waste to wealth, restoring lost habitat, rescuing wildlife, and nurturing the next generation of environmental stewards in Lagos. So our goal is very simple. Our goal is to shine the light on what it truly means to work on the front line of conservation, the challenges, the victories, and the lessons that can shape broader climate and sustainability policies for our dear city, the Center of Excellence, Lagos. So today we are being joined by passionate change makers whose work embodies the spirit of community-driven conservation and resilience. Join me as I welcome my first panelist. He's a renowned environmentalist and the founder of Lufasi Nature Park. I call him the Environmental General. Please let's welcome Dr. Desmond Majekodunmi. With a round of applause, please. I call him the Environmental General. He has done so much for the Lagos environment. Thank you very much, sir. Please have your seat. You see, he's a general indeed. Do you agree? Thank you. Thank you for that, Busa. So I'd also like to invite the founder of Green Fingers Sanctuary, dedicated to wildlife rescue and biodiversity education, Mr. Chinedu Mogbo. Thank you very much. A round of applause for him, too. These are your people, I guess. No wonder. And I would like to welcome Miss Doyisola Ogunye, a fantastic woman. She loves the environment, and I'm telling you, the environment loves her in return. Founder of Kids Beach Garden, a community-based initiative turning Lagos beaches into spaces of environmental learning and advocacy. Please let's welcome Ms. Doyisola. And I know that very soon, joining us via Zoom, let me save that person. When he joins us, I'll let you know. Okay, so without wasting much of our time, he's on now. Okay, our last panelist is on. He's joining us via Zoom, and he's Dr. Mark Ofua, the founder, St. Mark's Animal Hospital, known for his work in animal welfare and rescue. Please, let's celebrate him. He's joining us via Zoom. So we all have our microphones. Yes, thank you. So without wasting much of our time, let's dive into the conversation. Now, I want us to set the tone for this conversation now. Lagos currently is facing several environmental challenges. I'm going to be directing my question to Dr. Majekodunmi, my first question to Dr. Majekodunmi, talking about coastal erosion, flooding, loss of biodiversity. Oh, all right, thank you very much. Okay, so like I said, Lagos is facing several environmental challenges right now, talking about coastal erosion, flooding, and loss of biodiversity. So Dr. Majekodunmi, from your perspective, what does conservation mean for a fast-growing urban city like Lagos?
Conservation means staying alive. Because what are we doing? We're conserving, we're looking after the most important thing. In fact, I remember talking to one of our governors way back when I made a documentary about 15 years ago, Governor Fashola. And by the way, this isn't the 11th anniversary, this is the 15th anniversary. But that's another story, because he started it after this documentary. And the documentary showed the worst case scenario if we didn't stop this global warming. And when he saw this documentary, because we showed the graphics, Lagos was underwater in another 30, 40 years, or 50 years, 60 max, yes. And he was worried. He said, you people, You want to spoil our plans for the Lekki development? Anyway, he was a very progressive man. He checked it out. He watched the documentary 3 times, and he liaised with the United Nations, and he came to the realization that, my God, this thing is real, and we need to look after our life support system. So I even told him, and I've said it to even our Mr. Governor now, that we're going to change the name of the Ministry of Environment. He said, eh? I said, yes. It's Ministry of Life Support System.
A round of applause for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, so, but the reality is we're playing with danger. Let me just very briefly quote what the Secretary General of the United Nations said at the COP conference. You know, they have this conference in Brazil, and world leaders were there. Although there was one world leader who didn't come. I mean, we thought that at least we would have a trumpeter there, you know, come and blow your trumpet. For where? For where? You know, and this is the danger that we're in, that the leader of the country that has produced the most pollution in the whole world is telling 90% of meteorological scientists, geologists, who have confirmed that climate change is the biggest problem humanity has ever faced, and is telling them that it's a con. So 90% of the scientists are liars. And this is this is the danger. Anyway, just very quickly, because I know you have other questions you want to ask. You know, what he said was, the world has failed in its promise to hold warming below 1.5 centigrade degrees. As leaders summit in Berlin, he said, we have failed. We have failed. And he said, this is a moral failure. Deadly negligence. Deadly negligence. So it's a wake-up call for all of us, especially those who are living here. Lagos is low-lying. Lagos is low-lying. And you know, the science behind it is so simple. I mean, what happens when you warm water in your mother's kitchen? The water, and it's there. And we're warming the oceans. And the oceans are getting more virulent. In Jamaica, they had a hurricane of a speed and a velocity that had never, ever been recorded before in this world. 385 kilometers per hour on the high level of Jamaica. Unprecedented. But the scientists told us that this would happen, so we better start listening to them. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Please, let's give him a round of applause, please. So I'm going to be directing this question to each and every one of you, including our panelists via Zoom. I'm going to be starting with you, Ms. Doyinsola. So what inspired each of you now to start your journey as a conservation advocate? Let me start with you.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. Every time this question comes up, I always say that it found me. I am actually a lawyer by profession. And when I say that, a lot of people don't know how, a lawyer is found on the shorelines and, on the beach, and also doing a lot of recycling. So it started in 2009. I think I was in uni at the time. And I saw that a lot of people were littering. I just moved to another part of Lagos, and I saw people littering that I had never seen before. People were littering. I don't know if it still happens, but I thank God that, Loma has been clamping down on these infractions. People will take waste, diapers, and stick it into drainages. Has anybody seen that before? Oh, okay. Yes, in 2007, 2008, it was my first time seeing these things. I saw people littering, and I told my friends and I told older people around that, let's do something about it. This is wrong. And nobody listened to me at the time. So I started talking with children. I started playing with children. I started teaching children how to recycle, how to separate waste, and plant trees at the time. And it started in a small community called Owode in Aja, and now we are, they always say the rest is history, but we're growing, we're going around Lagos, around Nigeria, and around the world.
Okay, so thank you very much. Mr. Chinedu, over to you.
Okay, thank you.
What inspired you?
So I think I just discovered the reason for my inspiration quite recently. As a teacher, I came across Multiple Intelligence by Howard Gardner, and I saw that there was one of them called natural intelligence. But I didn't understand it then because I knew way back since I was born, I was always very fascinated with animals, any kind of animal, anything that moves. But I didn't know where to channel that energy. But luckily, I think I was able to, my parents were encouraging. So after university, but I remember something that struck me when I was 10. I think my father took me to find a pet, to get a pet. I wanted a pet at that time. So he took me to a market. And I got there, I saw animals, everything inside cages stacked. I could see dead ones, but I didn't know what it meant to me. I was just excited I was going to get one. So actually, my university and I started working. I saw that there was nowhere in Lagos, as at then, that someone could go and even count up to 5 different organisms in the same space. So I felt, why don't I start something? Why don't I start working to get those animals out of that place and put them in a different place where they can thrive and people can learn about them? And that was how it started. So the journey with working with birds, then we started seeing, my eyes open to wet markets, to see animals in terrible conditions, and I mean terrible conditions, to see the lack of emotional awareness Nigerians have towards animals, how we abuse, how we feel that they are the part of living things that should not matter. So for example, you see a monkey stroll past your house, you're calling someone to come and shoot it because monkeys should not stroll past your house. That we must live in only a place that it's only a human I must see. I must not see anything else. And we know that. I'm sure the geckos in our house have suffered as a result of what we are talking about here. But we fail to understand that an ecosystem is not just made up of one person, man. In fact, we cannot even produce food on our own. How much more? So that drive to create a space within Nigeria where people can learn about biodiversity, that we can take animals from a bad position or a bad state and restore them back to their original habitat, or create a habitat where they can thrive, and also teach other children like I was when I was a child that it's actually normal to love creatures. It's actually normal to love wildlife. Your parents are not saying, where did this one come from? Which kind of child are you? You want to study, I want to study zoology. No, you go and study, you'll be poor. Go and study medicine and be a doctor or a lawyer. And to make them understand that it is okay and it is fine to do that, because the opportunities in the world for these kinds of are vast. And we need them. We need those things within our spaces to create a balanced system. Okay. And that is why I do what we do.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for him, please. Like I said earlier, Dr. Ofua has joined us via Zoom. Doctor, can you hear us? Hello, doctor, can you hear us? We can't hear him. Audio, please. Technical crew, can you please help us with the audio? Because we would like to hear from him too. Okay, Dr. Ofua, check your system. Are you on mute or something? No, you are not. Technical crew, please help us. You can hear us, but we can't hear you, unfortunately.
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, Dr. Ofua, can you share with us, your journey into being a conservation advocate?
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you. Yes, we can.
All right. Yeah. So as a child, I was interested in animals. I was a troublesome child that would bring in different animals, sneak them into the house. My siblings woke up to seeing scorpions or spiders or lizards or frogs or what have you in the house. And sometimes I'll see eggs of what I don't know. I'll bring it into the house and hatch, and they hatch into different things, lizards, snakes, I had this interest in wildlife. But as I was growing up, I was appalled at the relationship we Nigerians have with our wildlife. And it didn't help that amongst the books that I was reading at that time were books on wildlife, animals. There is this guy, Gerard Durrell, that writes about zoos. He founded several zoos in the US. He comes to Africa to get animals for the zoos. And I didn't even know such animals existed. And we had them in Nigeria. So that was like a challenge for me. And as I grew up, I had this appalling experience where everything that lived, that had breath, that moved, was killed and eaten as bushmeat. You know, I had one of two options: either complain about it or be a part of the solution. I opted for the other. I went to veterinary school to learn to help animals, and when I finished, the first opportunity I got, I started rescuing. And it's amazing when you go to the bushmeat market. My colleague Chinedu just spoke. It's amazing when you go to the bushmeat market and you see animals on the bushmeat tables, animals that you do not know, that one is not aware that we have in Nigeria, but it's available for bushmeat. It's amazing. It's appalling. So I started doing my bit, what I could do to change the stories, rescue, rehabilitation, release, and then, but most importantly, education, trying to change the conversation. And I am happy that we are here today having this kind of symposium. I actually am in transit in New York, but I just wanted to be part of this conversation because it's landmark for us. And I think the fact that Nigeria has come to this stage where we have these conversations, then there is hope indeed for the future. And I must say also that the law that was recently attended to by the Senate and waiting for the president to sign is another indication that we are in the right direction and there is hope. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. A round of applause for Dr. Ofa. He's actually in transit and he's also joining us. Now, please, I want to, appeal to you to let us make it as brief as possible. I know we have a lot to say, but we also have a lot to cover. Now to Dr. Majekodumi. Over to you. The question, please share with us your journey into conservation.
A cashew tree. You said I should make it brief, no?
Just
No, really, when I was a young boy, we had a cashew tree in our compound. I used to climb the tree to take shade. And of course, when you get to the right season, you pluck that cashew fruit, so sweet. And then on top of that, the blessing of the cashew tree, what of the cashew nut when you roast it? And I fell in love with this cashew tree. And from there, it just grew and expanded. And then I spent 3 years in Kenya. In Kenya. And in Nairobi, on the weekend, the city will be half empty because everybody has gone to their shamba. That's Swahili for farm, including the president, everybody. The food there was so fantastic. It was just wonderful, fresh milk. And then when I came home, I was speaking to one young guy, and I said, okay, where does milk come from? He said, milk comes from the tin now. So anyway, that just inspired me to get deeply involved. I became a farmer, and we set up a farm along the Lekki Expressway, which was just bush in those days. And luckily, it was an agroforestry farm, and it's now expanded into Lufasi Nature Park. So is that cashew fruit?
let's celebrate our panelists. I'm sure you will agree with me that they've been doing a very good job so far, protecting our environment for us. Now to our next question, and I'm going to be directing my question to you. Now, can you share with us one defining moment, or let's say project, that captured the essence of your conservation work?
Thank you for that. One of the, well, I've had so many, but I think I'm just going to use this one. For 5 years, for 12 years, we've been working with different animals, learning about the conservation of, Nigeria's state of this wildlife. And as Mark said, learning about the animals as I see them dead on those tables. So the first time, which was 5 years ago, I visited one of those wet markets and I saw a sea turtle. And for me, it was shocking because I never knew, had never known anything about them. I just saw them and I was like, why is it here? Where did this come from? I started asking questions. And I'll say, oh yes, we're by the sea. So does it mean that maybe it's just a regular? But over the years, from then, we were seeing quite a lot of them. We heard the stories about when they come in and when they go, that they come in at a certain time and they go back. I mean, they come in, lay their eggs, go back for a season. So I really got involved 3 years ago when I started looking out for these things, for them, anytime I see them on the road. There was one particular one, and this was very interesting. We went to a community and we picked up this sea turtle. And we spoke to the fishermen and told them that, oh no, this is not supposed to be killed. We took her, we tagged her, so I put a tag on her as a way of us checking just in case. We took her, so I picked her up all the way from the Ekpe regions, the Ibeju, Lekki regions. Picked her up from there, called her Luna, moved her all the way to VI here, went out at sea, put her back into the waters after tagging her. 6 months later, I got a call that they've seen another sea turtle, but it's carrying a tag. I went back to the same community. I went there and we saw that this was Luna 6 months later. She had put on 10 kilos and she had navigated from that place back to that thing. What did that teach us? What did that tell me at that point? These sea turtles are there. It's their residence, it's their home. The ocean is free for exploitation. Anybody can go there and pick up anything they want with no protection. She's only able to go back there because that place for now is the only feeding ground they have in that location, which means from Ikoyi, all the activities all the way down there has disrupted their natural habitat and their natural setting. This should have been a wake-up call for anyone who cares to listen, that something needs to be done. These are species that many of us never knew that they even existed. I never knew they existed before. And the hundreds and the different other species we find there need our protection. And if those areas are not protected, I mean, Lagos, think about Nigeria as a whole. All the southern part of Nigeria, and it's hundreds of kilometers, over 800 kilometers, is coastal area. And there is not one place. We may have over 20 national parks, but we have not one place to protect the ocean. No marine protected areas. I think it's a call for us to wake up.
That's indeed a call. Please, let's celebrate our panelists for that insightful contribution. Now, Ms. Doyinsola, over to you. You want to share with us an a defining moment for you in your job as a conservation advocate.
Yes, thank you. I would, piggyback on what Chinedu said. We've been working together for almost 10 years doing this work. And my story is also a sea turtle story.
Okay, so can you please give us another story?
This sea turtle story, sorry, you just have to listen because it is my defining moment. And that's what actually changed my mind. So many things. So I was at home, I live very close to the ocean. And I got a call from the OPC people. I know everybody knows OPC here, exactly. So I got a call from the OPC that they found something in the ocean and they want me to come and rescue it. I didn't even know what, I wasn't expecting anything, and I got there and I saw a leatherback sea turtle, and the leatherback sea turtles are the biggest and they are critically endangered. And I was like, oh, okay, so let's take it back in. And they said, madam, 500,000. Wow. I said, 500,000 for what? They said, the whole back and forth. We were there for 8 hours begging and trying to get this turtle back. I had to start, my Yoruba is not so good, but I had to start speaking all the Yoruba. I called people, I got online, I called vloggers, and it hit me because these turtles are coming back for one thing. They're coming back to nest. So if you've ever seen a pregnant woman trying to get to the hospital and then is kidnapped on her way there, wow. That is how deep it is. Imagine a pregnant woman trying to do that, and then instead, she's slaughtered and her eggs are eaten. And that is over 100 lifetimes that you're taking away because sea turtles are already critically endangered. And I saw that, and I think after about 7 hours of sweating and begging, we're able to use those same OPC and all the agueros in the area because it's a very heavy turtle. We're able to use that to move her back. And we called her Yeye Okun. We always name the turtles. We called her Yeye Okun. And we moved her back. And thank you so much. This was in 2019, 2020, and we moved her back, and all the blogs took it, Insta blog took it, and also BBC actually took that story. And it was because of that I got nominated to be part of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in America.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing that defining moment with us.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm truly inspired. Okay, so let's talk about the challenges now. I'm going to be directing my question to Dr. Maja Kodumi. I know that you have faced so many challenges and you are still facing them. So can you share with us just one and how you have been able to, how have you stayed consistent over the years? So you have two questions in one, actually.
Yeah, well, it's almost on a daily basis because the farm was in the bush before. And then the expressway, we were there actually before they finished the expressway, Lekki Expressway. So it was there, agroforestry farm. So we were adopting nature-friendly practices. The original forest growth was there. And we planted in between all that. That is, so you will need very less fertilizer, very less insecticide, because nature is doing her thing. Anyway, in no time at all, the expressway came, and the place started burgeoning, and getting bigger and bigger. And then the development program started, and people were saying, all this is land. So we've had a constant battle over the last 30 years to at least preserve a portion of that space as a park. Because I remember when I grew up as a young fellow, we had a lot of green space in Lagos. There was a place called Ikoyi Park, which you young people like Chinedu wouldn't even know that Ikoyi Park. Which was land. So we have to take over the land and turn it into a money something. And now they have Parkview Estate. The only thing is Parkview, but there's no park to view. Ooh, yes, the pursuit of money. And when you put profit ahead of people, ahead of the planet, then you have a major problem. Because you see, the armed robber, he's doing that. Bush, take your money, because the money is more important than your life. One thing we discovered, and I'll end on this one, in the farm, we planted cassava for many, many years. And guess what? We plant the cassava. We know they harvest cocoa yam. You cannot plant cassava and harvest cocoa yam. So actually, when the scriptures tell us that what you sow is what you reap, and is there in every scripture in the Bible, it's a law of retribution. In the Quran, it's kifara. In the Bhagavad Gita, it's karma. So that is what is protecting us. Because people who have come, this one are real estate, we could carry the different. You see, there's a reason why my name is Maja Kodumi. Oto.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Indeed. Indeed, what you sow is what you reap. And what you give to the environment is what the environment will give back to you. Now to Dr. Ofwa. You want to share with us your major challenge and how you have managed to stay consistent so far.
Very much for that. Like my uncle there said, the challenges there are myriads of challenges. But the one I would call, of course, well, there are myriads of challenges. There is financing, there is space, there is culture that you're fighting with. But the one I would want to gripe about is information, education level. It's very, very low. And with such a meeting as this, with such an opportunity as this, it's one that I really would want us to focus on. Um, the other panelists, doing Chinedu and Uncle Des, we work very closely together, and I'm sure they would agree with me when we see poachers with animals, sea turtles, pangolins, other protected animals, and we try to intervene. The first opposition we get, in fact, the loudest opposition we get, is not even from the poachers themselves. It's from the people around. You hear talks like, he found it. He's his gift from God. The animals belong to God, so we should take it. They are not aware that there are laws protecting these animals. And because they are not aware, they see what you're doing as intrusive, and then they want to mob you in order to protect the poacher. And this is because the knowledge about these laws are not, they are not out there. People do not know. Conservation is not a culture yet in Nigeria. And that's my greatest challenge. How do we make it a culture? How do we make this mindset a culture? We must introduce conservation biology in our primary schools, in our secondary schools, so that the children, as they grow, they imbibe it, they have an understanding. You know, if I explain, if Chinedu explain, if Uncle Des explain, if Doing Solar explain, she's going to explain to a group of people, a few people. But if we have these things taught in our schools, I mean, it's going to cause a cultural shift, which will be a defining moment for conservation in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Please let's celebrate Dr. Ofa. All right, now Dr. Ofa talked about culture. So doing so, I'm going to be asking you this question now. How do you balance traditional practices, with modern conservation methods? How do you balance both?
Okay, it's been it's been quite a journey, right? And there has been one particular moment where I went to a particular village in Ibejuleki, and I saw this lady taking waste, a lot of waste, and she just went to the ocean and she just poured it in. And I had to ask, I'm like, Madam, why did you do that? And what did she tell me? She said, Olokumagbelo for me. Exactly. And she said that means that the god of the ocean will clean it up for her. I said, wow. Because really, but that is the myth, and that's what they know. Because when you put it in the ocean, it goes away, and they don't know where. So we started to sensitize. We started to go to these communities to teach them. It took a very long time, about 3 years, but they got the message. The same thing with the turtles. They believe that some of these villages believe that if you eat turtle meat, you have longer life. I was also hearing it for the first time as well. So when you hear things like that, you now have to sensitize them, especially the fishermen, because what the turtles do for them is to reduce the population of jellyfish in the ocean, which helps them as well. So this has to be a continuum. We have to continue doing it. And by balancing it, we're not going into schools and telling stories, stories that relate to what they're doing and what we need them to understand so that the next generation can understand.
So I saw Mr. Chinedu. Yes, thank you. Please, let's keep the clap coming. Yes, I saw you nodding your head when she was saying, so I am sure you want to contribute to what she has said.
Definitely. It's I would say for most tradition or cultures, we people do things as a result of the information they had then. And as time goes on and as you get a little bit more exposed, you find yourself drifting away from such cultures. I mean, there are certain cultures we all know now that things we used to do before, we cannot do them. And because this spread abroad, everyone was doing it, we felt it was normal. But unfortunately, as we get exposed, we get educated, as Mark said, we teach people about it. They begin to unlearn those behaviors and learn new behaviors. However, looking at the cross between especially wildlife conservation and um, culture. There might be some places where culture has contributed positively to wildlife conservation, or to even, because there are certain areas, for example, in the eastern part where you cannot, if you see certain kind of snakes, you cannot touch them, you cannot kill them. That has protected it. There's some forests that protect monkeys because you can't touch the monkeys here. They are the gods. We might call it selfish, but yes, we like that kind of culture. But the other kind that harms, not only harms the organism, but also harms yourself, because at the end of the day, eating a turtle, thinking that it will make you live long, most of these turtles contain heavy metals, which in fact does the opposite, shortens your lifespan. We educate you to help you in the process. So there is that balance, but education is key to driving conservation, and without that, there is nothing we can achieve much. But there's one other defining thing that we always see when it happens. Everybody with their culture, with their tradition will bury it. Think about COVID-19. When it came, culture didn't matter. Tradition didn't matter. Everybody just wanted to survive. If there is a tsunami, nobody will think about culture. Everyone will just think about what? Surviving. And that's what we need to understand.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now to Dr. Majekodunmi. How can the city of Lagos, better integrate grassroots conservation initiatives into the broader climate resilience strategy of the Lagos State government?
Very, very important, very essential. But just go to the grassroots with, they don't do so much of it these days. But we used to have these almost like traveling local theaters. Just a group of people, and you go to the grassroots and you set up, and you set up maybe in the school compound. You say, okay, we're going to have a get-together today, and you express the issues to them in a dramatic form. And our people relate to that. We're some of the most dramatic people in the whole world. Nigerians, hey, just ordinary greeting. Bawani now, hey, Baba, we have emotion in us. We have emotion. Chinedu, especially the women. Nigerian woman, very emotional. Abi alai? So yeah, this we could take it, or make it a bit more sophisticated and take this sort of traveling little traveling cinema things. But we need to go to the local, to the rural areas, and just sensitize the people and make it very, very simple and straightforward. That take care of nature so she can take care of you.
Indeed, we must take care of nature for nature to take care of us. Now, Dr. Ofwa, I'm going to be asking you the next questions. Now, experts have said that there is a disconnect between policy and implementation, policy and practice. So what kind of support, or let's say collaboration, do you think is most critical right now from the government and the private sector? Dr. Ofwa, are you with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go on.
Okay, I said thank you for that question, and you're quite correct. There's been a disconnect between policy and implementation and what we see on the field. Hitherto, it's been because there is this mindset or this feeling that there are more important matters. That's been a problem. I remember speaking with Chinedu some years ago, and then he went to the government office in Lagos State that was responsible for protecting the environment. And he went to report about some people that were, destroying biodiversity. And the woman was like, what's your business? Who gave you the authority? Who gave you the right to even go and interfere or something? I'm telling you, this is the office that was supposed to protect. So these policies usually, we have beautiful laws and all that. But implementation has been another problem, because hitherto it's been that there are other serious, more important matters. If I talk on social media and I say, oh, we need to protect wildlife, and people tell me that, oh, so there's no problem again, you don't have problem again. But recent findings is letting us know that these problems that we think are more important, they are all rooted in the destruction of biodiversity. When I was a boy, my parents would say, oh, the good old days. Now I'm a parent myself, and I tell my kids, oh, the good old days. If we continue with this trend in our relationship with biodiversity, my kids will still tell their children the good old days. As we destroy biodiversity around us, we're making life more difficult. If I say, for example, now categorically that our well-being is dependent on the health of our forest, you would like, how come? I don't eat trees, I don't eat, or if I say, oh, we need our bees, that our life is dependent on the health of the bees and butterflies. Nobody here, I'm sure, had bees and butterflies for breakfast. But the fact that if you wipe out the bees and the butterflies and the other pollinators, there's going to be hunger in the land. Price of food will go up and all that. And then we'll come back and say, oh, things are tight, the country is dying or something. But it's our inordinate relationship. So right now, there has to be that deliberate step to bridge the gap. And this forum is one of such. On the front lines, you see conservationists, the panelists you have, and others, NGOs that are working, to change the conversation. The government now has to take a deliberate step. There's so much the government can do, but there is one thing it can do and do well. It can take a deliberate step to partner with these frontline workers, these frontline soldiers who have already laid down their all to preserve and conserve our biodiversity and say, okay, you guys are already here. How can we work together to enhance what you do? Look at what Uncle Desmond said about how the preserve that he has, the Lupasi Nature Park, how the land is being hacked left, right, and center. It should actually be that more land is being given to him. Because what he has there, you see the beautiful thing he has done. That Lupasi Nature Park is my escape. When Lagos gets too much for me, I run there to breathe. So these efforts should be enhanced such that we can take it higher and then get more people to join. And before you know it, the story is changed for our biodiversity.
Thank you very much. Now let's move on to technology and AI because that's that's the in thing now. So, Ms. Doyinsola, this question is for you. What role do you see technology, innovation, or even social media playing in amplifying your work and building awareness?
Okay, so technology is very important, especially social media. It gives you a platform where you can speak to the world and the world can speak to you. There are some apps, for example, when it comes to knowledge. I do a lot of tree planting. I do a lot of identification of plants. So you would see things like, you see apps like Google Lens that teaches you about plants. You will see plant apps, picture this and things like that that would help you. So there's a lot of learning. And when you document these things and you put them side by side, you can actually scale up, whether it's a problem or a solution. So these are the kind of things that the AI solutions can bring, to us in this sector. I also always say that, you don't need AI to plant a tree, but you can use AI to find out how much carbon you can sequester if you plant 200 trees, 300 trees, and even 1,000 trees. So that's where I feel AI can come through.
All right, thank you very much. Now to our last question, a minute each for this question now. So I'll start with you, Dr. Majekodunmi. What gives you hope about the future of conservation in a fast-growing urban city like Lagos?
We're going to bring the green back into Lagos because there's a reason why green is in our flag. The Nigerian flag is what? Green, white, and green.
Exactly.
So we're going to bring the green back. Yes, and when we do that, our lives shall be better. We will have more food. And we're seeing some very interesting programs coming out of the Ministry of Agriculture. And there's a symbiosis between the ministries now. And this is so, so, so key, so that they're all working together, not one going this way and that the other. So I have a lot of hope for Lagos. And also, we have the added advantage in Lagos. It's not just green. We got the blue as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please let's celebrate Dr. Majekodunmi. Now, Mr. Chinedu, what hope do you see?
Hope for us is I can be hopeful. I can be hopeful to see Lagos as a space where all conversations we have at summits like this for the past 12 years, I can be hopeful to see it blossom into action. I can be hopeful to see that the conversations or the things, the policies coming forth will not just end at someone's table, but will actually go beyond that to achieving the purpose for which it was achieved, which was set up for. I can be hopeful to see that all the ministries, whether it could be ministry for humans, whether it could be ministry for environments, whether it could be ministry for wildlife, everybody working effectively and fulfilling the purpose of such ministries. I can be hopeful to see that every single Nigerian, the education that we need, the information that we need to make us that sustainable city, to make us, to build that circular economy, to build that city just like we dream of for Kenya, we see in Kenya, we see in Tanzania, we see every other place. I can be hopeful to see that Nigerians will also take up that responsibility and that role to make a change, not just for wildlife, but for ourselves also. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Ofwa, what gives you hope for Lagos?
If you had asked me this question about 5-6 years ago, I would have said there is no hope. But there is hope, and it's beautiful. We are getting it right. It's slow, but it's steady, and it's focused. But we can only do more. Like I said, we have strong-spirited individuals on the front lines, some of which are before you right there. And the government, yes, the Lagos State government is at the front, and usually will lead the face for Nigeria, which is a very good thing. Now we should be more deliberate. You know, the government should be more deliberate in partnering with these individuals and the NGO. And there is another player or another stakeholder that we have left out, and we must bring into this conversation, which is the private sector. We cannot leave everything to the hands of the government. The private sector must come in. You know, the government should put policies in place that will draw the private sector into the conservation conversation. Because first of all, if you look at it on one hand, the private sector is actually very, very key in the destruction of biodiversity. So it should be made their corporate social responsibility to see that they partner in conservation work. You know, the Dangote refinery, I know large expanse of land was cleared for that. There's nothing wrong if the Dangote refinery now supports a conservation effort directly. You know, this would go to, you know, kind of offset or make for the destruction that was done. We have other private individuals in other countries, even in Africa, Southern Africa and Western and Eastern Africa, sorry. You see where the private sector plays a more direct role in supporting conservation. First Bank of Nigeria, for example, has the elephant as its logo. Nigeria has about 400 elephants left. There is nothing wrong if First Bank of Nigeria directly supports the conservation of what is left, you know. So we must begin to have this conversation, and then you will see that the story would change 360 and would have an upward trajectory for conservation in Nigeria.
Thank you, Dr. Ofwa. A round of applause for him, please. And now finally to our beautiful lady, Miss Doyinsola. What gives you hope?
Thank you so much. Lagos is listening. I remember starting this journey about 17 years ago, and I started my journey with Loma. I started talking to Loma, and at that time, God bless Mr. Oresoya, I know he's still in very active service. He listened to me. Lagos is listening to young people. People are being included in the conversation. This is the 15th, because of what Uncle Dare said, this is the 15th summit, and I know there will be more to come, and I know there will be more, things like this. You know, what also gives me hope, I've been working with women for about 7 to 8 years, but this year I decided to work with fishermen. And coincidentally, if you look at the emblem of Lagos State, you would find that the fishermen are there. But where are they in this conversation? Where are they? They are the front line. They are the ones that are now seeing more plastic than fish. they are the ones that need to be in rooms like this. Even if they can't come, let us hear from them. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. So the hope that Lagos has given us, even making us, amplifying our voices, with this type of events is something that I would really like to see more of, not just once a year, but every single month, because there's a crisis that we're all dealing with right now.
Thank you very much. Thank you so, so very much. Let's celebrate them with a resounding applause this time. Okay, this is where we draw the curtains on this conversation for now. I know that we have to keep it alive. I'd like to say a big thank you to our incredible panelists, Dr. Majekodumi, thank you very much. Mr. Mogbo, Ms. Ogunye, and Dr. Ofwa, thank you for sharing your inspiring journeys and insights with us. I'd also like to thank our audience. You've been amazing. Thank you for your attention and, of course, for celebrating them with your round of applause. And yes, I'd like to thank our hosts, the Lagos State Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, for giving us this incredible platform. So we've heard it all. Conservation is not just about protecting the oceans, the forests, the biodiversity. It is about protecting ourselves and the future of our communities. So every action we take, no matter how small, moves Lagos closer to a greener and more sustainable future. Thank you very much. My name is Bukola Tilokol. Please, let's keep this conversation alive. Enjoy the rest of the summit. Okay, we'll take a group photograph right now. Thank you very much.